Number 10. The release of Amityville: The Awakening next year will herald the 18th film in the much-hackneyed Amityville film series. Since its first outing in 1979, the franchise has reached new levels of mediocrity, with sequels veering beyond the haunted house premise into ridiculous territory, including, but by no means limited to, A Possessed Floor Lamp, Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes, An Accursed Dollhouse, Amityville Dollhouse, aptly, Bill 4, The Evil. Number 9. Supposedly based on a true story, though the story, from a book by documenter of anomalous phenomena Robert Damon Schneck and told to the writer by a close friend, seems dubious itself. The Bye-Bye Man focuses on 3 college students who move into an old, creepy house and unearth an evil entity. Despite his decidedly unnefarious moniker, the mere mention or thought of his name allows him to possess human souls and force them to do utterly heinous things. The mere mention or thought of his name allows. Number 8. Featuring a cast of noted horror icons including Kane Hodder, who played Jason Voorhees in the later installments of the Friday the 13th franchise, Tony Todd of Candyman fame and Scream Queen Barbara Crampton, Reanimator, and more recently, We Are Still Here, Death House, penned by another icon, the late Gunnar Hansen, aka Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface, has been dubbed the Expendables of the horror genre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface. Number 7. Back when Saw 3D was released in 2010, Lionsgate Films assured horror fans it would be the final installment in the increasingly nonsensical franchise. But guess what? They lied, and despite the premise being stretched to breaking point, the 8th film in the series is scheduled for a Halloween weekend release next year. Number 6. Italian master of horror Dario Argento, the man behind classic supernatural horror Suspiria and giallos like Opera and Tenebrae, has, despite a few comeback attempts, fallen from grace with many horror fans of late. Sadly, it looks like his latest offering, The Sandman, won't be the film that marks his resurgence either. The Sandman won't be the film that marks his resurgence either. Number 5. It might feature the combined talents of some of the horror genre's most recognizable names, including Fright Night and Child's Play director Tom Holland, Friday the 13th screenwriter Victor Miller, and horror composer Harry Manfredini, but that's the only good-looking part of forthcoming flick Rock Paper Dead. Rock Paper Dead. Number 4. Originally slated for a November 2015 release, the third installment of the American Ring remake franchise has been shunted around the movie calendar a couple of times before finally being bumped from a potentially profitable Halloween weekend date to a not-so-lucrative early February release. And as we all know, consistent delays are never usually a sign of a film's imminent success. Number 3. Terrifying as they are, it's not surprising that sharks are perfect fodder for the horror genre, and we've seen shark-based films that run the gamut from the brilliant Spielberg's Jaws, to the terrible Jaws, The Revenge, and the so bad they're kind of good Sharknado. So, While it's obviously imperative for filmmakers to bring something new to such a hackneyed plot device, this can, of course, result in some wildly outlandish movies. A hackneyed plot device, this can, of course. Number 2. Rumor has it that Nicolas Cage once won an Academy Award for Best Actor, but recalling some of his recent efforts, The Wicker Man remake or Bangkok Dangerous, anybody? You'd be forgiven for thinking that Oscar win was the stuff of Hollywood lore. So with that in mind, we aren't too hopeful for his latest offering to cinemagoers, Mom and Dad. Too hopeful for his latest offering to cinemagoers, Mom and Dad. And Dad. Number 1. Considering the first 2 movies of Kevin Smith's Canada-set True North trilogy told the tales of a kidnapped podcaster whose captor surgically mutates him into a human walrus hybrid, yes, really, and 2 teen girls take on an army of tiny Nazis made out of bratwurst, again yes, really, it's probably not too surprising to learn that its concluding chapter is a Jaws-inspired offering that swaps up killer sharks for killer moose. Surprising to learn that its concluding chapter is a Jaws-inspired offering that swaps up killer sharks for killer moose. Up killer sharks for killer